Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I had a subscriber ask a question which I will flip in here for you guys. And he basically said, hey, I know a 60-year-old bodybuilder, or used to be a bodybuilder, who's all jacked up now, has all these joint problems, all these connective tissue problems. How do I avoid becoming all snapped up and jacked up like this guy? So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing. Let's do a little bit of crafting and let's talk about it. All right, guys. I talk about this sort of stuff all the time. You know what? I think this is one of the single most important topics to cover on Fitness YouTube, because not a lot of people are really talking about it. You know, in addition to the scam to the supplement industry, we really need to understand of losing that meathead mentality in the gym that has injured so many people, made it so hard for so many people to train later in life. And what you guys have to remember, while there are exceptions to this rule, most bodybuilders actually don't really know that much about training safely, training in a way that doesn't destroy the body. And it's ironic that so many of them practice what I would call body destroying rather than bodybuilding. I mean, it's ironic given the name. And there are exceptions. I've also met bodybuilders whose knowledge of physiology, biomechanics and everything is amazing. Absolutely amazing. But they are the exception to the rule. All right, several things that you really need to consider. Again, to summarize, as I discuss this stuff all the time, I'm going to put this in a playlist with the other videos on this topic. But the sort of things that really cause bodybuilders problems are using exercises that are terrible, first of all, performing them in a bad way. How about any exercise where you flare the elbows on a press? When your elbows are flared at the bottom, it doesn't matter whether it's a chest press, incline, even your dips. If you're flaring your elbows on dips at the bottom, you're gripping it out too wide. You're using one of those V-bars, you're doing it incorrectly, you're going to damage yourself over time. So anything where you're flaring the elbows for a chest press, I mean, that's one of the #1 causes of shoulder problems. How about performing any sort of side lateral raise where you turn your pinkies up? You know, you hear bodybuilders do that all the time, and it's like, well, because it burns more. Yeah, it burns because you're destroying the glenoid in the shoulder joint. That's why it actually burns. That's why it hurts. You know, that no pain, no gain bullshit, which is another thing there. That's another problem they have. The stuff that hurts, don't do it. It's stupid. You're there to build your body up, not to destroy your body. Stimulate, don't annihilate. If it hurts or causes sharp pain anywhere or excessive burning, you should probably change what you're doing. But yeah, that when they turn the pinkies up, the reason it hurts is because it's crushing the glenoid in the joint. All right, that can cause irreversible damage to the joint, and then you're going to be snapped up forever. That's real high on the list. Doing any sort of skull crusher or tricep exercise where you have the elbows together and you're bringing the weight to your face. All right, that damages and inflames the connective tissue around the elbow joint from these two heads of the tricep down there. It inflames that connective tissue. It causes tennis elbow. But it burns. Yeah, it burns. It's causing damage. Of course it burns. Of course it hurts. Anything that destroys your body hurts. That's kind of the point. And they don't get this. They don't get this mentality. Training is not supposed to hurt. And again, the guys who preach that sort of stuff, oh, it burns more, I get more of a burn. Yeah, you're also the ones who are all jacked up and crippled later. Think about it. Training's not supposed to hurt. There can be some discomfort to training. Pushing yourself hard can be fatiguing. It can be uncomfortable. But doing anything where you push your body out of its element is uncomfortable, but it should never be painful. And if it's painful, you're doing something wrong. Half squats with a weight that's heavier than you can go ass to grass for a max. All right, that damages your knees. Make that very, very clear. If you're squatting with a weight, if you can't drop ass to grass with a weight all the way down and pause and squat it back up, you know, hamstrings to heels, then it's heavier than your 1 rep max. If you're doing rep work with it, if you're doing 5 or more reps with a weight that's heavier than you can do that with, then you are doing more than your max, and that means you're probably half squatting. You might think you're going to parallel, but you're 8 inches high. Half squatting with weights that are heavier than you can go ass to grass with will damage your knees over time. You will be a jacked up bodybuilder one day. You guys are trying to be jacked, not jacked up. There's a big difference. Touch and go deadlifts. Yeah, I said it. Touch and go deadlifts. Deadlifts where you just tap the floor and you don't reset the weight every time. That's how you hurt your back deadlifting. that idea of you're trying to achieve constant tension. No, you're bouncing the weight off the floor so that you can do more reps with the same weight. That's not applying constant tension. It's making it easier. It's using inertia and it's bouncing it. You're going to hurt yourself. Chest presses, any sort of bench press where you don't come all the way down and you don't have some sort of board press to make a soft touch to limit the range of motion, that's how you get hurt. Causes injuries. The list goes on, but these are the big causes. How about muscle imbalances? A lot of bodybuilders. This isn't always true of competitive bodybuilders, by the way. Top level pros obviously have to look at everything, but guys who work too much on their show muscles, means the stuff in the front, the stuff you see in the front of the mirror, instead of their go muscles, the stuff in the posterior chain, they get muscle imbalances. Those muscle imbalances can cause joint injuries over time. Meaning if your quads are too strong for your hamstrings, your biceps are too strong for your triceps, your pecs and your front delts are too strong for your rear delts and your lats, you have a muscle imbalance. Muscle imbalances lead to injuries. You have less joint stability. You're more likely to hurt yourself and cause permanent injury as a result of it. Remember, show muscles are the things in the front. The things you see from the front, you see in the mirror all the time. The go muscles are the stuff behind you. The muscles behind you are generally more important for sports. All right, you don't want a guy on a football field to hit you or someone to wrestle you or grab you who has massive hamstrings, spinal erectors, traps, even triceps. You don't want a dude punching you with massive triceps. But all those go muscles, those are the ones that matter the most in sports performance. So they're go muscles. The show muscles are the ones up front. Guys work them because they see them in the mirror. Too many guys have too strong of show muscles and too weak of go muscles. Creates enormous amounts of muscle imbalances. It causes you to be snapped up later. How about training with too much volume all the time? Training with excessive volume causes inflammation in connective tissue. Not regulating your volume, training beyond your maximum recoverable volume, maximum recoverable fatigue too often causes inflammation. Inflammation for too long, for too many years, causes what? Scar tissue. Causes scar tissue buildup and calcification around tendons that is going to hurt you the rest of your life. It's going to make your life painful later. You're not going to be able to lift anymore the way you want. How about using knee sleeves, wraps? Wraps or sleeves anywhere other than maybe wrist wraps. Wraps and sleeves hurt you in the long term. They all cause potential injury. People use them to either lift more weight or reduce pain while they're training. If you have pain while you're training, you're doing something wrong. Wrapping a Band-Aid around it so that you can push through the pain easier is not how you avoid injury. That's how you snap your shit up. Not deloading often enough goes back to the training beyond your maximum recoverable volume, maximum recoverable fatigue. Training until connective tissue hurts and then not taking a deload immediately and coming in and training just one more time with joints or tendons that hurt. What do you think that does in the long term? Anyone care to guess? That's how you build up scar tissue around your connective tissue. That's how you eventually snap connective tissue. And you get little extra tears in your connective tissue that go on for years that you don't notice, and those tears lead to extra scar tissue in there. It's going to hurt later. It's going to hurt when you get older. But yeah, not deloading. Letting things hurt and then continuing to push through and not deloading, letting your body recover. That's how you become a snapped up bodybuilder later. All this machoism of thinking you're hardcore training and destroying your body makes you hardcore or badass. And then you wonder why you can't train and you suck later in life. Because you got so many injuries and scar tissues and everything else that you're one of those guys who, you guys all don't know that other guy. I used to be a bodybuilder. I used to be jacked. I used to bench 400 pounds. And they're all injured and snapped up, and old and weak. That's what happens. That's from training the way I just described is how that happens. And I'm very much against all of that, guys. I turned 40 coming up here in a couple of weeks. You guys see me deadlifting 500 pounds for 7 reps without a belt. Just the other day. I'm pain-free. I learned in my 20s from the injuries that I did have to not be stupid. I don't want to be one of those snapped up guys. And what I would tell to you guys, if you don't want to be either, listen to me on this stuff. I'm not trying to teach you guys this to call people out. I'm trying to teach you guys this because I don't think that weight training should hurt you. I think weight training should be a positive, healthy, amazing influence on your life for the rest of your life. And I want every one of you to still be training and still be strong when you're 70 years old. That's what I want for everyone in my audience. That is my goal. For you guys to not be snapped up, because I don't want you guys who are 18 and 19 training right now to be done in 10 years. I want you guys to still be lifting when you're 50, 60, 70 years old. I want you guys to be strong and healthy and strong as fuck for the rest of your life. I want everyone in my audience listening to be in the top 1% in terms of strength and fitness for the rest of your life. That's what I want to give you guys. And the advice like this is there to do that. It's not to tell people to be lazy. It's to tell people that trying to be hardcore isn't about laziness. It's about stupidity and looking at the long term. That's all it's about, guys. That's what I'm trying to get at with this. I'm not trying to tell people to be lazy. I'm not trying to tell you to be mediocre. I'm trying to tell you guys that you can continue to be exceptional for the rest of your life if you just learn how to pace yourself and do things intelligently and correctly. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.